Cooper. And welcome back to another day in the Freedom and Company garage. Today our goal is to get all of our fuel lines all done, all completed. So we've got to plumb up this tank to this tank, to this external fuel pump, to this fuel pressure regulator, and then to our fuel rail. So we've got a bunch of -12 line here, -6 line there, and all sorts of fittings and goodies over here. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys something pretty exciting. We got some new Freedom and Company t-shirts. We also got hoodies and hats. So we are super stoked on these. Let us know if this is something that we should set up an online store for. So we got a bunch of them right now just to give away to friends and family, stuff like that. But we want to see what you guys think and if this is something that you guys would be interested in. So let us know in the comments if you guys want some t-shirts, want some hoodies, want some hats. We've also got some pretty cool key tags here, if I can get the right way. So if this is something that you guys want to throw on your bike keychain, something like that, leave a note in the comments. Alrighty guys, so in our last episode you watched us finish up this tank. This is all said and done. So now we just have to run all of our lines from it. So we've got this fill line which is going to attach to this -12 right in here. So we're going to have a line running down over here into that, and that is going to be how the gas gets from this tank to that tank. We've also got our return line here that's going to be from our fuel pressure regulator, which is right in there, that guy there. And then we've got our fuel pickup line, which is going to run to our fuel pump. And then we have our vents on top. So these guys, we're gonna use some longer hose, and this is gonna go down over here. They're gonna tee into one, and that will go into this little guy there. And then we should be pretty much all ready to go. And then the goal is to get this filled up, test for any leaks on the lines. We've already leak tested this and that, so we know those two are good. But we need to pressure test all the connection points between all of our tanks and fuel pumps and regulators, all that good stuff. So I'm thinking we're gonna do ugly early and get this big 12AN line out of the way, just because this is gonna be the most difficult to get all plumbed up in the right areas. So that has to go right in between these two intake runners here, snake its way down in between these fairings here and into this port over here. So we're gonna get started on that, and we will show you guys how to assemble AN lines. Alright, so we finally have our first AN hose completely done. It went together pretty smooth. It took us a little bit just to, these collars did not want to screw onto this because the ends kept fraying. So it took a few tries to get those all cleaned up, but we got it a lot better on our second end over here. So when we're on the bike, we've got the tank on the ground now, but that end is going to go up like this, and this end plugs into right there. So we're going to throw this on here and show you guys what it looks like. We kind of discovered that it's not perfectly ideal with how this end sits up against our intake, but it will work for now. If we have some time, we will go ahead and modify a few things, but I think we're just going to run it how it is, and it should work perfectly fine. So we're going to throw this together and show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so we have our line all the way installed with that tank and that tank all in place. So this is the first time we've had them connected officially. So this thing, there is so little space in here, it is almost ridiculous. I mean, this whole build is ridiculous. I mean, y'all know that. But just to show you guys what we were working with, I can't even really get in there. So we've got our line coming down from right in there, right down here, comes down here, kind of loops up, back around, and into right here. So you can see it comes down here, all the way down, comes up right up against our frame and our fairings there, to our coupler, to our fitting right here. All right, guys, it is a new day, so we finished up that other line yesterday. We didn't get to doing any dash 6 lines over here, so that's the plan for today. But first, we're going to take a brief intermission and change the oil on the big bikes. So Paul's got an FZ07 here, and I have been riding an FZ09. So yeah, we're going to change the oil in these, and then get back to that guy over there. All right, guys, so the big bikes are all done. Oil is changed. Those guys are all ready to go. Cleaned them up a little bit. And now we are back to this guy over here. So we are going to be running our dash 6 line over here. And we are going to start with our fuel pressure regulator return line. So this is going to be our, I guess, our most straightforward lines. We just want to get this kind of plumbed and routed. It's also going to be our longest running single line. This is just going to go from that fitting there, snake up and around and all the way up here and straight into that guy there. So we're going to get started with this one. We'll show you guys how it ends up. And now we have our very first dash 6 AN line done. So we did the return line from our fuel pressure regulator back to our tank here. So that's just one straight shot, nothing in between. These things look really nice, and that was part of why we chose to do all AN lines versus like a standard fuel hose. We didn't want to see hose clamps. We didn't want the risk of any leaks and end up like a some Ducati engine Grom that had been built before and burned down because of a fuel leak. So we ended up going with all the AN lines, and we're super happy we did that. So these things are looking great so far. So this guy goes from our tank there, snakes around all in here, right back up to our fuel pressure regulator right under here, just like so. So these things are, yeah, looking really good. We're liking how everything is turning out here. So now we're going to get working on our feed lines from that to our fuel filter, which is going to be up here, and that to our fuel pump, and then fuel pump to fuel pressure regulator, then fuel pressure regulator to fuel rail. I know that was a lot, so hopefully that was easy to follow. But yeah, just follow along, and we're going to bust out a bunch more of these lines.
Why do I feel like I linger between the words to say the words to remember. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm. Now we won't go back home today, until the very last hour. We still got.
So we finally have all of our fuel lines done at last. And just for example, on a normal bike, all you've got is your fuel pump, fuel pressure regulator, all that stuff assembly built into the tank, and all you have is one fuel line going from your tank pump to the fuel rail. That's it. So this setup is way more complex than a standard fuel tank setup on a normal motorcycle, just because there's so much more. We have 2 different fuel tanks, and we're running a larger fuel pump, an external fuel pressure regulator, and all of this stuff is going to be so we are ensuring that we have the proper fuel flow and fuel pressures when we're modifying things. And there's one big hint in here. Remember that boost reference port? Yeah, we're gonna make sure that this fuel pump supports the possible need for that in the future. So now we've got everything taken back apart, all of our fuel lines disassembled and off of the bike, and here they are. So all of this stuff goes in that little tiny space. So you might see why this has been such a challenge for us. So this is our fuel pump, our fuel pressure regulator, and then all of our lines going all the way down. So these things turned out really nice though. I love all the AN fittings. Everything turned out fantastic. They look really nice and clean and should provide a nice leak-free connection. Well guys, this is where we are going to end this episode here on a success with all of our fuel lines. So we know we've had a lot of gas tank videos, a lot of fuel line stuff, but this was a major component in getting all this stuff on this bike to function properly later on. So we've got all of our tanks done, all of our lines done, everything's been leak tested. So next video, our plan and our goal is to clean all of these out, make sure everything is nice and tight. We are going to clean that tank out, clean this tank out, that tank out, and get everything assembled for a final assembly on here so we can fill it up, test the capacity, turn the fuel pump on, test for leaks at all of our connections, and we really are trying to get all of our electrical system at least just laid out, not fully assembled in here, but we want to get all of our sensors and communication stuff plugged in. That way we might be able to test fire this engine and see if it actually runs. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, we're still plugging away one episode at a time and sharing our journey on this bike with you guys. So once again, if you guys like what we were doing, if you enjoy these kind of videos, just take a second. It really means a lot to us. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, check out our Patreon account. Every dollar y'all donate goes straight to working on this thing and making it even more of a beast. And yeah, so check us out there. And follow us on Instagram so you can see a little bit more of the behind the scenes of what we're doing here. So we post some teasers, some updates on there. So follow us there. We'll put a link in the description. And just be watching out for future videos. So we really want to get this thing started this weekend. So keep an eye out and we will see you next time. What do you think, buddy? You want to go to work? You want to start working on the Grom? No? Not super excited about it, huh? Well, we are. That's your loss.